let's go ahead and take a look at the agenda for today. These are the items I'll be covering. No doubt you already know how to do most of these. If not, today's session is going to be extremely useful and helpful. Hopefully there'll be at least one thing that you're not familiar with throughout this brief training session. Let's go on to the first item on our list, and if you all would like to go ahead and open up a new tab, you can do so. Just like our other trainings, for each of the bulleted items here, we have a separate slide that allows you access to additional resources. All you'd have to do is click on the little icon down there and it'll take you to the Google support article. As is the case with all of our training sessions, this will be recorded and posted within the next day or so. All right, let's go ahead and talk about syncing computer files with Google Drive. If I can swipe over to my Google Drive, you all go ahead and pull up your Google Drive too. Open it up in a new tab. Now what I'm talking about right now will only work if you have Google Drive installed. All right, that is a standalone package that you have to download from Google. Most of you should have that installed. If you don't have it installed, there's a problem because that means your files aren't backing up. All right, I know mine is installed and running because I have this little icon right up here at the very top. That's my Google Drive icon. All right, in just a second we'll go through that and I'll show you what some of the menu items are. But if you're totally new to Google Drive and don't have the local installer configured on your computer, what you do is you would click on the settings icon right there inside of Drive, and you would see the option down there at the bottom to get Drive for desktop. That basically takes you to the installer page where you could download it and install it on your computer. All right? Now, let's take a look at some of these controls here inside of Google Drive. And it is available for both PCs and Macs. If you don't have it installed and configured, and what we go through today, you're a little concerned, hey, my files aren't backing up, you can see me after this or shoot me an email within the next couple days and we'll make sure we get it configured correctly for you. Now, if I'm to click up here on the little Google Drive icon, you'll see I've got a few places I can go. I can go to Activity, Notifications, and then I've also got this little gear icon. Let's focus on that real quickly if we can. All right. Now, Glenda, you're not seeing that because it looks like you're in full screen mode. So I think if you just hit the Escape key on your keyboard, yeah, and yours is going to look a little different. I believe your Google Drive icon will be in the lower right-hand corner because you're on a PC down by the time somewhere. Okay. So if I click on the settings icon here, you're going to see list of menu items, starting with Preferences. If I choose Preferences, look at what it's going to do. It's going to tell me what folders are being backed up. Now this is critical. If you don't have the correct directory designated in this area, there's a good chance you might not be getting your files backed up. Now notice what I've added here to be backed up. I am syncing these folders, my documents, my downloads, movies, music. I could add any other folder if I wanted to. Now, I always tell folks don't save everything on your desktop because we don't back it up, right? And you could tell Google Drive to back up your desktop. The only problem with that is, you know, I think of the desktop as a temporary workspace. Maybe we're putting things on there and then we're removing them to the trash because it's getting too cluttered. It's not like a permanent directory, as is the case with, say, your documents or movies folder. So I just bypass that altogether and just put everything in my documents. So here's what it's going to look like to choose a folder that you want backed up. All you have to do is you click Add Folder, and then it's going to pull up a Finder window. You just go through the folders and you get to the directory that you want it to download or sync. Choose it and then click Open. That's all you have to do. And then once that's done, it will add it to this list right here. All right? That's it. You set it and then you forget it, and it'll back up things. As long as you have a online connection, it'll do the rest of the work in the background for you.
I missed the one step where you got to this.
Okay, so what you're going to do, you're going to look at the Google Drive icon
Oh yeah.
right up here,
I don't have that up there.
and looks like you're on a PC there too, so you might have yours. Yours is not there? Okay, so we would want to get on your computer and launch it, make sure it's installed correctly. Then once it's running, we would configure it the way we need it to be. All right? Okay, and then from there, you're just going to go to your preferences. All right?
Let's say you pick a folder, but you decide this is not working for me. I don't want it to go.
Yeah.
Undo it.
Well, you can just, in this case, if I choose it, I'm just going to uncheck that and then click
But you
done.
don't lose anything. It just stays back in its place.
It stays on your computer. You're not, storing it anymore on Google Drive.
Because this one, sometimes when I'm looking for a document, I can't find it on Google Drive, and then I have to go into my folder there.
Possibly. Now, Google Drive, the installer, it integrates with your operating system. So what does that actually mean? So just like on a Mac, when you click on a Finder window, you're going to see your movies, your pictures, all that stuff on the sidebar, and then your little icons showing you all the files. That's like on a PC opening up My Computer, and you see everything. So Google Drive integrates with that. So what that means is if I pull up a Finder window here, you're going to see here's all my directories. They're going to be shown over here, but then I also have Google Drive. It's fully integrated. So that virtual drive that's up in the cloud actually is right here. I can open that up and get to any file inside my drive. I don't necessarily have to go through drive.google.com. Okay? And what's nice is it also allows me to access shared drives and other computers that I've actually used Google Drive with. Now, to access, let me go, are we all clear on that? How the Google Drive actually works, how it's supposed to work? Now I understand because we've got a couple different computers in here, it might not look exactly like what I'm demonstrating, but if we have questions, we can address those later. All right. Now the other thing I want to hit on, and this takes us to the next slide, is accessing Google Drive offline. All right. So this could come in handy if you're working on a document and for whatever reason you lose internet connectivity. This feature is going to allow you to go ahead and continue to work on it. Now, there's a couple things that you have to do. Before you turn on offline access, you have to first be connected to the internet. All right, so that's step one. The second thing, you have to be using Google Chrome. You can't be using private private browsing. And then, let's see, you've got to install and turn on the Google Docs offline Chrome extension. All right, now let me show you what that looks like.
I don't know that last part.
Okay, you have to install and turn on the Google Docs offline Chrome extension. So let's see what that actually looks like. All right, so if I did a Google search, all right, Google Docs offline Chrome extension, there it is right there. There's a support article, which is what I'm actually reading from, and then there's a link to the Chrome extension right there. When we click on it, it's going to take us to the Chrome Web Store. I already have it installed.
I already have. If it says remove from Chrome, is it already installed?
It's already installed. You've already got it. All right? Okay. So if I come back here to my drive, This is how we're going to actually turn this on. On the little gear icon in settings, watch this. Once you've satisfied all those things I just mentioned, those requirements, you go to your settings, click settings once more, and then in that first tab, the general tab, you'll scroll down and you'll see the, you'll see the offline option. Check that, and then this will allow you to work on Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides. Okay? Just those 3 applications. All right? There are many more Google services besides these 3. But these are the only ones that are supported with the offline capability. And if you missed all those steps, well, it's going to be in the recording. You can review as many times as you want, okay? And you've also got access to that support article where it talks to you about the extension that has to be installed first. And then once that's installed, you're just turning it on. Okay? Any questions about that? Crystal clear? Very good. Let's move along to customizing folders. One of my favorite things to do. Customize. Make it my own. All right, so you can see here, you're looking inside my Google Drive. I've got nothing to hide. Here's everything right here. I've got all these folders. You can see they're color coordinated. And I'm viewing this a certain way. You can switch between list layout and grid layout. That's entirely going to be up to you. You can see the difference, and you can toggle between these. And you'll notice as you toggle, you have the option while you're in list layout, you can reorder them. See the little arrow here? You can reverse sort it. You have some other options here. You can sort them by when they were last modified. You can also break them up. And this is actually a new feature right here. See these little chips, these little filters? You can say, hey, I only want to look for documents here. Look at what it does. Yeah, and you don't have to do that anymore. You can actually sort them just like that, right from inside Drive. Possibly who has shared them with you. I really like that feature. But we're talking about customizing. So let me get back here to this view. Uncheck that. Just go to folders here. All right, so you can see a lot of my folders here. How we're going to customize a folder is quite simple. You're just going to click the 3 dots next to any folder, and you're going to see a few things here. First off, you can rename it. Choose the rename option and just type it in. Now, if you add an emoji or a special character to the very beginning of the name here, of that title, what it's going to do is it's automatically going to place that at the very top of your list inside of Google Drive. All right? So that's a way that you can prioritize certain things here. Look at this, what I've done. Here's my Alcoa Connects folder. You see that special character there? It puts it right there, the very top. I always know where it is. And I've done that for actually a couple items. And then from there, it sorts everything else alphabetically. And you might be wondering, well, how did you get the colors in there too? Just click on those 3 dots once more, and you'll see the Organize option. And once you're inside there, you can either choose to move it, add a shortcut to it, or in my case, you could change it to a different color. Now, moving your items is quite easy. There's a quick way to do it, but not necessarily a precise way to do it, and that is with the old drag and drop method. So you got to be careful when you use this method. But if you're confident in your abilities, by all means, knock yourself out. On the left-hand side, you can see all of our directories here. Inside My Drive, if I click that drop-down menu, there's all my folders. All right, so let's say I wanted to take one of these folders and move it in there. All you have to do is grab the folder and drag. See what that will do? You can just drag it in there. But if you get distracted, it's easy to drop it in a folder that you don't necessarily want it to be in. All right, so a more precise way to move these directories or folders is to do one of two things. You could click on the three dots here, all right, and where it says Organize, you could say Move, and if you choose that option, then it's going to pull up all your directories. You can go through them and manually just select the folder you want it to go into, all right? So if I wanted everything to go inside this Alcoa Connects training folder, I would just say Move, and it would do it. Or I could select it and then click Move. All right? Likewise, I could select the folder here, go up to my three-dot menu. It's exactly the same thing. All right? And we're going to see that Organize option there, along with the Move link. Okay? Before we move to the next item on the list, I do want to quickly go back to one thing that's just occurred to me as it relates to Google Drive, the installed version of it and what is backed up. So if you all look over here on the left-hand side of the screen on mine, you'll see it says My Drive, Shared Drives. You all know what shared drives are probably. Then you also have computers. Computers represents all of those computers that have been logged in with your account where Google Drive has been set up and you've marked folders for being backed up. All right? So look at mine. If I click that drop down, look at what I have being backed up. These are computers that I have been issued through the years that I've manually gone in and set Google Drive to back up. Now this one here, 5911 13040, you can go in and you can rename them so that you know exactly what they are. All right? Otherwise, you're just going to have a bunch of folders named iMac, iMac, iMac. There's no way to differentiate them. Right? So inside of each of these, you can see there's all my directories. And I can go into any of those and I can see the contents that were backed up automatically for me.
If I have a desktop computer,
Mm-hmm.
I need to log on to that and access this to add it.
Right.
Tell it to
Yes.
back up.
Yes. Yes. And then once you got that going, what you can do with any of these computers that you have here, you can choose the rename option. See, you can give it a name. I put a little computer icon next to mine. And you can also, if you choose the Organize option, you can give it a color. That way they look different from one another. And at any time, wherever you're logged into Drive, you can grab the contents of any other computer that's running Google Drive and it's syncing. Pretty nice. The fact that this does this automatically is a really nice feature. Okay. Let's continue. Moving and sorting items. We just looked at that. Smart file searching. How many of you have ever had trouble finding something inside a Google Drive? A lot of heads nodding. Yes. Me included. Well, you'll see the search area at the very top. And one of the ways that you can do a search is by setting certain criteria. And over on the right-hand side of this window, you see the little controls. This gives you advanced search options. Click that icon and look at how this is broken down. You can search by the type, by the owner, maybe who you think owns the file, if the file maybe has the words. And this would include words that might appear inside of the document. Okay? What the item might be named, where it could be, when it was last worked on, who it's been shared to. And these options right here really have to do with how you've collaborated with others on it. So maybe it was a document where you've said there are suggestions, they've made a suggestion, you want to search for a file where there's been a suggestion made. And you can choose this as an option. All right? Once you've got your search criteria set, just simply click the search button and it'll pull up all the results for you. Or, of course, you could just start typing in something there. Now, this is sort of a smart feature based on AI that's built in now to the search. So if you click inside there, it's going to say, hey, I noticed that you've interacted with these people recently. Let's see if I'm looking for something that may have been shared to me by Megan. So if I click there, look, automatically pulls up all those files. You can clear that out. And then you can get right back to the advanced search if you want to. How many of you have ever utilized this feature right here? Instead of manually typing in someone's name, you just click it right up here because it was somebody you... Very good. Good. All right. So that's smart file searching. Let's talk real quickly about sharing and file restrictions. And I thought we may have ran into an issue today with file restrictions. And turns out it was something altogether different, but it could have been an explanation for why this user was experiencing what they were. So, whenever you share a file with someone, let me get back to my drive, and let me get into my docs here. Okay, so here's one. You can select the file, and whenever you select a file in Drive, these little icons are going to appear up at the very top. Now, if you're sharing with a specific individual, you're going to choose this little option right here. And I lost it because I enlarged it too much. Right there, share. This is for sharing with individuals. You simply type in their name or group that they might be associated with, and it will share the document out with them. All right? Now, here's for general access, you have some options. Click that drop-down menu. Restricted is going to mean only the people you specifically share the file with have access to it. If you choose Alcoa City Schools, anyone with an Alcoa City Schools email address is going to potentially have access. Anyone with a link is going to be anyone outside of our district. So if you're publishing it to the web, you want it out there and others outside of our organization to be able to access it, this is going to be the option you choose. I can't tell you how many times I've dealt with folks who've said, hey, this person can't access it, and it's because the owner had the wrong permissions set. So make sure before you publish something, your permissions are the way they're supposed to be. All right, it's really simple. All right, one of these three options. Okay? So, let's say I shared this with Beverly Boyd. All right. I could notify her if I wanted to and type in a message here just to give her a little context about what it is that I'm sharing with her. This is going to show up in her email. All right. And of course, I can choose to allow her to be an editor, viewer, commentator, or this is a new feature, add expiration. You see that? Ah. Yeah. So you can say, I want you to have access now, but I don't want you to have it forever. So you choose that option, and then you can say when you want it to expire. Okay?
Can you do that for a group also?
I believe so.
Date?
I believe so.
Like if you send it to all of the agents or something?
I think so. Yes. Don't quote me on that, but I believe you can. Yes. So if I go ahead and I send that to Beverly, she's an editor now, but look at what else I can do with this. If I click on the file, and then I'm going to go to share. Now look here. Uh-oh. Are you okay?
This is my battery, so keep going. I don't know why.
Oh, you know what? Let me make sure there's a power switch on here. That is not probably. It's not bad.
Woohoo! Technology always says.
I failed. That was totally my fault. All right, so look here. You can see I'm sharing this file with Beverly, but I've got this little gear icon up here. Now look at what I can prevent her from doing. Even though I've shared it with her, I can prevent her from sharing it with somebody else or being able to download, print, and copy the file. Now that was one of the issues I was having earlier. This person couldn't print, they couldn't download, and they couldn't copy. Actually, they could copy. And so I was thinking, this isn't right. And so that was one of the first things I looked at to make sure that this option wasn't set. Turns out it was, like I said, an issue completely different. But if you have an occasion where you want to prevent those sort of things, that would be where you find it. Just choose that little gear icon and then check the preferences you'd like to make. Now, does this mean it's foolproof? No. They could take a picture with their phone. They could do a screenshot and save it and print it that way. This just doesn't make it easy for them to do. All right? How many of you knew you could do that?
I knew you could do it, I didn't know how.
Oh, you didn't know how? Okay, good. Now you know. Now you know. All right. So, moving on. Managing file versions. So, whenever it comes to Google Docs, slides, or sheets, you know about versions. And those programs are constantly saving all the time, every second. All right, so there's literally thousands of versions for some files that you have, depending on how long it's been out there. But what I'm talking about right now is versions of files that might be published. So for example, if I have, let's say, a PDF file, maybe a map or a calendar that's published on our website. Or here's a perfect example, the organizational chart that we have for the ESC. That's published from Google Drive. It's out there. It has a specific address. But as with usually everything, the first version that we get isn't the complete, this is going to be it version. So that constantly has to be changed. So whenever I'm dealing with something like that and I've linked from the website to that file, I've got a problem. I mean, it's like, well, not only do you have to update the PDF, but you have to change the link back here. With versions, you don't have to worry about that. And let me show you what I'm getting at. So if I go right here to the Educator Support Center, and I'm looking for the organizational chart. Here it is. There's the organizational chart. This is a PDF file, right? Let's say Becky says, you know what, I need to make a change to Tom, to you. You're no longer with us. I need you to take you off that. All right? So what I would do, I would generate the new PDF, but then I would come back here. making a note of what the title there, ESC organizational chart. So I'm going to type in ESE. There it is. So that pulled it up. I actually don't want to open it. Organizational. Okay, here it is. That's the actual file that we see over here. If I click on the three dots, look here. I'm going to see, or should see, let me back out. File information, look here. Manage versions. If I choose manage versions, it's going to allow me to upload a new version of that, and it doesn't change the address. So that means I don't have to do anything back there on the website. It replaces what's there. Now look at all the versions I've had of that file, all the changes I've had to make. So all I'd have to do is choose upload new version, find the updated PDF, and then I could refresh the page and then I would see the changes. Again, this isn't the sort of thing that you would use every day, but occasionally this sort of thing can come in very handy. Everybody understand what I'm talking about here and why that would be useful? Being able to manage those versions? Yeah. You could do it with a photo as well that maybe you've shared with somebody. All right, just replace it. All right. Come back here. See how we're doing. 4:21. 9 minutes left. Creating file shortcuts. Now, a file shortcut is basically just a quick way of getting to a file. And it's going to, I think, be most useful whenever you're dealing with files that have been shared with you. So you can't really do much in terms of organizing your shared drives shared with me directory. So go ahead and click on shared with me if you would. You can see you've got all these files right here. And you can't, you can filter them this way, but in terms of storing them, you can't really do that. So a better way that I've found, that I've seen practice out there, is to create shortcuts. So let's say you have a folder inside your drive that belongs to a group of people or deals with a specific topic, and you want to take files maybe that have been shared with you and put them in there. Well, you can't put files that you had shared with you in there because you don't own them. You can't put them inside your My Drive. However, you can put a shortcut there. So in this case, I've got this file right here. And if I click my three dots, organize, I should see, yep, under organize, you're going to see add a shortcut. Now if I choose that, add a shortcut, it's going to say, all right, where do you want to put the shortcut? You can put this in any folder that you own that is in My Drive. Once you've done that, open that folder inside your drive, click on the shortcut, and it'll take you right to the file. It's basically quick access to it. So you're not having to hunt all through your Share With Me folder. You can go wherever you've decided to put the shortcut. Right? So if, let's say I wanted to go to all locations here, and inside My Drive, I'm going to put it in the Alcoa Connects training folder. If I said add, all right, then I'll go back to My Drive. Here's Alcoa Connects. Look, there's that shortcut right there. And if I open it, it'll take me right to it. I'm not having to hunt for it or search through Shared With Me to find it. You can add as many shortcuts as you want and place them in as many different folders as you need to. Any questions about that? Shortcuts. All right, moving on. Google Drive Workspaces. This is very useful. If you find that you are working with 2 or 3 files every day, you can create a specific workspace for it. And this is what a workspace looks like. You can see I have mine over here. I have a few different workspaces. I got a tech training, Chromebook workspace, and an inventory workspace. All right. As you can see, each of these workspaces contain shortcuts to relevant files that I would normally work on. All right. So if you want to create a workspace, just click Create Workspace, give it a name. I know we wear lots of different hats here. So, and depending on the time of day it is, you might be wearing a different hat. So you could create a workspace that would contain files that you know you work on while you're wearing this hat. Does that make sense? And then you have quick access to them. So in this sample workspace, you can include up to 25 files that are inside your drive. You just choose them and it'll drop them in there. Doesn't move the location. This is just a shortcut to help you get to them quicker. All right. Once they're in there, this is what it's going to look like. And then you can open up the workspace and see all your files and continue to add more if need be. All right. Again, you pick up on some of these shortcuts over the course of time. It all adds up. Looks like I've got 6 workspaces. All right.
Could you share those with people and we have multiple people in one workspace?
Oh, workspaces are not, it's really just for the individual, the user. Yeah. For that, for sharing, it's really just going to be probably the a shared drive, right? Or a shared folder, which leads me to my next point here, shared drives. And you all can create shared drives if you want to. It doesn't have to be somebody up at the ESC to make them. To create a shared drive, just choose the shared drive folder over here on the left-hand side, and then you'll see the option to click New, and then you can create a new shared drive. Click Create. It'll make it for you. You can customize it, of course. Put your people in it. Manage the members. Decide what kind of access you want to give them. All right. So I've had to set these up on many occasions for folks. You can see what they look like here. Some of the ones I've created. Threat assessment. School board docs, social studies. This is one I set up for a couple of teachers at the middle school. They wanted to be able to watch videos together, and so we created this. And inside here, I can email the members, I can manage them, change the theme, add more people if I want to. All right, that's shared drives. And last thing we're going to look at, 428. Let me go back. Keyboard shortcuts. You'll find all the keyboard shortcuts you could ever want for Google Drive by clicking on the little gear here, and then you'll see keyboard shortcuts. Choose that, and there they all are. So if you like working with your keys, instead of clicking and dragging, and you find it a little easier, more proficient to do it that way, that's fine. For example, Command I, or I'm sorry, it's just I on this one, and that'll pull up information on it. And you can, some of these you're going to definitely use more than others. Menu items, sort, creating a new document, opening an item, Enter or O. You may not have known that. So if I find a file here, you can just hit the return key and it'll open it right up. You don't have to double click on it. All those shortcuts are over here under keyboard shortcuts.
Is there a way to print this?
Is there a way to print?
This keyboard shortcut?
Oh,
Like a cheat sheet.
If we go to View All and Help Center, yeah, and then you can, from there, you can print it if you like. All right. On the next to last slide of the presentation, there are links to additional resources there. And what I would like everyone to go ahead and do is click on the certificate of completion inside the slide deck. Once you do that, it'll take you to the Google form. Go ahead and fill it out. Make sure you check your email. Enter your name as you would like it to appear on the certificate. Today's date. You're going to choose Google Drive Best Practices. Choose 1 hour. It's the only option there. And then click Submit. And in about 15 seconds, you'll have a PDF certificate emailed to you. For those who are watching this right now, thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, tlarson@alcoaschools.net. Thanks.